Reading through the Bible in a year, August 23rd, 1 Samuel chapter 15, Romans 13, Jeremiah 52, and Psalm 31. Then Samuel said to Saul, Yahweh sent me to anoint you as king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore, listen to the words of Yahweh. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, I will punish Amalek for what he did to Israel, how he set himself up on the way while he was coming up from Egypt. Now go and strike Amalek, and utterly destroy all that he has, and do not spare him, but put to death both man and woman, child and infant, ox and sheep, camel and donkey. Then Saul summoned the people and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 foot soldiers and 10,000 men of Judah. Saul came to the city of Amalek and set an ambush in the valley. Saul said to the Kenites, Go, depart, go down from among the Amalekites, so that I do not destroy you with them. For you showed kindness to all the sons of Israel when they came up from Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. So Saul defeated the Amalekites from Havilah as you go to Shur, which is east of Egypt. He captured Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag, and the best of the sheep, the oxen, the fatlings, the lambs, and all that was good, and were not willing to destroy them utterly, but everything despised and worthless, that they utterly destroyed. Then the word of Yahweh came to Samuel, saying, I regret that I have made Saul king, for he has turned back from following me and has not carried out my commands. I'm going to read the note on this here, because this is the first time we come across the idea that God is regretting something. That kind of gives you an idea that maybe God made a mistake. He feels bad about putting this guy as king over his people. The note here. We'll go with that from the ESV Study Bible. So here, as in Genesis 6:6, the Lord regrets a decision. This does not mean that God feels genuine sorrow when contemplating Saul's sin, but it does mean that God thinks his decision is going to make Saul king. Starting over, his decision to make Saul king was a mistake in the overall course of his plans of history. For more on divine regret, there's another note in Samuel 15:9. This is when 15:29. We're going to come up to that in a moment here. Reading also from the Reformation Study Bible. Turning back, it's a serious indictment. Did I jump ahead? Okay, yeah, turning back from following him and has not carried out his commands. So turning back is a serious indictment, where obedience and following the Lord are named as the essential requirements for a successful reign. And Samuel was angry. This is the same expression used in 18:8 and 2 Samuel 6:8. The best way to kind of look at this, no spin, nothing else, just kind of explaining it. You know how this will be easier to explain to people who have older children. Your children are they've graduated high school, they've moved out, maybe they're in college, right? Or maybe they've graduated from college and they're starting to make, what's the right term, dumb decisions. And as a parent, you know you could swoop in and fix that thing for him, lickety split, no problem at all. But you know you shouldn't. Again, every child has to learn how to handle these things. If I fixed all the problems for my son or my daughter, they will never learn how to do this stuff on their own, and worse, their children will never learn from them. So, after they've gone through whatever it is, I might talk to them after the fact and say, I know I could have helped you, but I chose not to, so that you could stand on your own and make this decision on your own. And I supported any decision you made. but it's super hard. I remember when my daughter first moved out and was, again, the whole reason why I started this channel was so that my daughter could follow along with our Bible readings, despite being, 1,000+ miles away. I knew that the decisions she was making were at best ill-advised, but I let her go through them. Now that she is a mother, now that she's married, she can look back on that time and realize I was making a wise decision for her. But she also knows how much I struggled with all of the pain and hardship she was going through. In the same way, God here is looking at what's going to happen to his people, Israel. The struggles they're going to go through because of Saul as their king. He's going to see, he sees all of these things ahead of time, but he's going to see it play out in the lives of these people. So this is a good way to look at the regret that God has, because he knows that this is a terrible king, but this is exactly the king that the people needed. Remember, God is in charge not just of things streaming out in the aether, right? Things that are too hard for us to imagine. Is he? Yes, absolutely. But also, he is king over national boundaries. He is king over kings of the earth, King of kings and Lord of lords. He is the one who establishes national boundaries. He's the one who establishes nations and tears nations apart. And when he wants to punish a nation, as John Calvin is famously quoted as saying, he will send them wicked rulers who will do horrific things with those people. Once again, we've read through Revelation. We've read through and seen what happens in in Judges. When God, even reading through Jeremiah, we've seen what God does with people when he wants to remove his hand from them, as we read about in the Psalms. Those who are converted, those who are people of God, immediately recognize that the hand of protection has been removed from them, and they go to God in prayer, in fasting, in sackcloth, in repenting of all the deeds that they've done. They understand what's happening, but the rest of the world just sees bad things happening and they blame God. Is he ultimately responsible? He could make things better, true. But God's withholding his hand to cause the people to come to a point of crisis. As C.S. Lewis, again, he's somebody who people have a troubled history with C.S. Lewis. I like some of the things that he's written, but things tend to just go astray the more you read his stuff. However, in The Problem of Pain, he makes a good point that God whispers to us when things are going well. God whispers to us when we're happy, when things are content. But in our pain, he screams at us. He's telling us in the most loud way possible. He's getting our attention, so we'll be focused on him. And through this struggle, the unrepentant person is made to come to a decision point in their minds. Am I going to continue to suffer at the hands of my Creator because of wrongs that I have experienced? Again, these are people assuming that God is wronging them, right? knowing full well that when I repent and turn to him, they will cease. And there's a deep regret that comes when you have to do that. When you have to spank your child for the first time. You know that it's the right thing to do, and you don't want to see this child that you produced experience pain, but you cannot have them continue to disrespect you and your family and the rules of the household. So you punish them. And while it's the right thing to do, you regret having done it. And here, God is regretting making Saul king for the fact that he has turned back from following him and not carried out his commands. This is part and parcel with what a bad king is going to do. And he knows this. And he knows the people of Israel are going to suffer terribly because of him. We continue. So Samuel was distressed and cried out to Yahweh all night. And Samuel rose early in the morning to meet Saul. And it was told Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set up a monument for himself, then turned and proceeded down to Gilgal. And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said to him, Blessed are you of Yahweh. I have carried out the command of Yahweh. But Samuel said, What then is this bleating of the sheep in my ears and the lowing of oxen that I hear? And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites. For the people spared the best of the sheep and the oxen to sacrifice to Yahweh your God. But the rest we have utterly destroyed. Then Samuel said to Saul, Wait, and let me tell you what Yahweh said to me last night. He said to him, Speak, God's talking about me? I need to hear this. So Samuel said, Is it not true? Though you were little in your own eyes, you were made the head of the tribes of Israel. And Yahweh anointed you king over Israel. And Yahweh sent you on a mission and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they are exterminated. Why then did you not obey the voice of Yahweh, but rushed upon the spoil and did what was evil in the sight of Yahweh? Saul said to Samuel, I did obey the voice of Yahweh. I went on the mission which Yahweh sent me, and I brought Agag, the king of Amalek, and I have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took some of the spoil, sheep and oxen, the choicest of the things devoted to destruction, to sacrifice to Yahweh your God at Gilgal. And Samuel said, Has Yahweh as much delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahweh? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of divination, and insubordination is as iniquity and idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of Yahweh, he has also rejected you from being king. Then Saul said to Samuel, I have sinned. I have indeed transgressed the command of Yahweh and your words, because I feared the people and listened to their voice. Now, therefore, please pardon my sin and return with me, that I may worship Yahweh. But Samuel said to Saul, I will not return with you, for you have rejected the word of Yahweh, and Yahweh has rejected you from being king over Israel. Second time he says this, reinforcing the fact that it's true. And Samuel turned to go, and Saul seized the edge of his robe and tore it. So Samuel said to him, Yahweh has torn the kingdom of Israel from you today, and has given it to your neighbor, who is better than you. Also, the glory of Israel will not lie or change his mind, for he is not a man that he should change his mind. Then he said, I have sinned, but please honor me now before the elders of my people and before Israel, and go back with me, that I may worship Yahweh your God. So Samuel went back, following Saul, and Saul worshipped Yahweh. Then Samuel said, Bring me Agag, the king of the Amalekites. And Agag came to him cheerfully. And Agag said, Surely the bitterness of death is past. Like, sure, all my people are dead, but I'm still alive. But Samuel said, As your sword made women childless, so shall your mother be childless among women. And Samuel hewed Agag to pieces before Yahweh at Gilgal. Then Samuel went to Ramah, but Saul went up to his house at Gibeah of Saul. Samuel did not see Saul again until the day of his death, for Samuel grieved over Saul, and Yahweh regretted that he had made Saul king over Israel. Now let's move on to Romans 13. Paul continues, every person is to be in subjection to the governing authorities. For there is no authority except from God, and those which exist are established by God. Just talked about this. Therefore, whoever resists authority has opposed the ordinance of God, and they who have opposed will receive condemnation upon themselves. For rulers are not a cause of fear for good behavior, but for evil. Do you want to have no fear of authority? Do what is good, and you will have praise from the same. For it is a minister of God to you for good. But if you do what is evil, be afraid, for it does not bear the sword for nothing. For it is a minister of God, an avenger who brings wrath on the one who practices evil. Therefore, it is necessary to be in subjection, not only because of wrath, but also for conscience's sake. For because of this, you also pay taxes. For rulers are servants of God, devoting themselves to this very thing. Render to all what is due them. Tax to whom tax is due. Custom to whom custom. Fear to whom fear, and honor to whom honor. Owe nothing to anyone except to love one another. For he who loves his neighbor has fulfilled the law. For this, you shall not commit adultery. You shall not murder. You shall not steal. You shall not covet. And if there is any other commandment, it is summed up in this saying, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no wrong to a neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfillment of the law. Do this, knowing the time, that it is already the hour for you to awaken from sleep. For now salvation is nearer to us than when we believed. The night is almost gone. The day is near. Therefore, let us lay aside the deeds of darkness and put on the armor of light. Let us behave properly, as in the day, not in carousing and drunkenness, not in sexual promiscuity and sensuality, not in strife and jealousy, but put on the Lord Jesus Christ, and make no provision for the flesh in regard to its lusts. Now Jeremiah 52. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. He did evil in the sight of Yahweh, like all that of Jehoiakim had done. For, through the anger of Yahweh, this came about in Jerusalem and Judah until he cast them out of his presence, and Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. Now it came about in the 9th year of his reign, on the 10th day of the 10th month, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came. He and all his army against Jerusalem, camped against it, and built a siege wall all around it. So the city was under siege until the 11th month of King Zedekiah. On the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine was so severe in the city that there was no food for all the people of the land. Then the city was broken into, and all the men of war fled and went forth from the city at night by way of the gate between the two walls, which was by the king's garden, though the Chaldeans were all around the city, and they went by way of the Arabah. But the army of the Chaldeans pursued the king and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho, and all his army was scattered from him. Then they captured the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon at Riblah in the land of Hamath, and he passed sentence on him. The king of Babylon slaughtered the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and he also slaughtered all the princes of Judah in Riblah. Then he blinded the eyes of Zedekiah, And the king of Babylon bound him with bronze fetters, and brought him to Babylon, and put him in prison until the day of his death. Now, on the 10th day of the 5th month, which was the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the bodyguard, who was in service of the king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem. He burned the house of Yahweh, the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem. Even every large house he burned with fire. So all the army of the Chaldeans, who were with the captain of the guard, broke down all the walls around Jerusalem. Then Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, carried away into exile some of the poorest of the people, and the rest of the people who were left in the city, the deserters who had deserted to the king of Babylon, and the rest of the artisans. But Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, left some of the poorest of the land to be vine dressers and plowmen. Now the bronze pillars which belonged to the house of Yahweh, and the stands and the bronze sea which were in the house of Yahweh, the Chaldeans broke in pieces, and carried all their bronze to Babylon. They also took away the pots, the shovels, the snuffers, the basins, the pans, and all the bronze vessels which were used in temple service. The captain of the guard also took away the bowls, the fire pans, the basins, the pots, the lampstands, the pans, and the drink offering bowls, what was fine gold and what was fine silver. The 2 pillars, the one sea, then the 12 bronze bowls that were under the sea, and the stands, which King Solomon had made for the house of Yahweh. The bronze of all these vessels was beyond weight. As for the pillars, the height of each pillar was 18 cubits, and it was 12 cubits in circumference, and 4 fingers in thickness, and hollow. Now a capital of bronze was on it, and the height of each capital was 5 cubits, with network and pomegranates upon the capital all around, all of bronze, and the second pillar was like these, including the pomegranates. There were 96 exposed pomegranates, all the pomegranates numbered 100 on the network all around. Then the captain of the guard took Sariah the chief priest and Zephaniah the second priest with the 3 officers of the temple. He also took from the city 1 official who was an overseer of the men of war, and 7 of the king's advisers who were found in the city, and the scribe of the commander of the army who mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land who were found in the midst of the city. Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, took them and brought them to the king of Babylon at Riblah. Then the king of Babylon struck them down and put them to death at Riblah in the land of Hamath. So Judah was led away into exile from its land. These are the people whom Nebuzaradan carried away into exile. In the 7th year, 3,023 Jews. In the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, 832 persons from Jerusalem. In the 23rd year of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried into exile 745 Jewish people. There were 4,600 persons in all. Now it came about in the 37th year of the exile of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 25th of the month, that evil Merodach, king of Babylon, in the 1st year of his reign, showed favor to Jehoiachin, king of Judah, and brought him out of prison. Then he spoke kindly to him, and set his throne above all the thrones of the kings who were with him in Babylon. So Jehoiachin, changed his prison clothes, and he had his meals in the king's presence regularly all the days of his life. For his allowance, a regular allowance was given him by the king of Babylon, a daily portion all the days of his life, till the day of his death. Including today in Psalm 31. In you, O Yahweh, I have taken refuge. Let me never be ashamed. In your righteousness, deliver me. Incline your ear to me. Rescue me quickly. Be to me a rock of strength, a stronghold to save me. For you are my rock and my fortress. For your name's sake, you will lead me and guide me. You will pull me out of the net which they have secretly laid for me. For you are my strength. Into your hand I commit my spirit. You have ransomed me, O Yahweh, God of truth. I hate those who regard vain idols, but I trust in Yahweh. I will rejoice and be glad in your loving kindness, because you have seen my affliction. You have known the troubles of my soul, and you have not given me over into the hand of the enemy. You have set my feet in a large place. Gracious to me, O Yahweh, for I am in distress. My eye is wasted away from grief, my soul and my body also. For my life is spent with sorrow, in my years with sighing. My strength has failed because of my iniquity. My body has wasted away. Because of all my adversaries, I have become a reproach, especially to my neighbors, and an object of dread to my acquaintances. Those who see me in the street flee from me. I am forgotten as a dead man, out of mind. I am like a broken vessel, for I have heard the slander of many. Terror is on every side. While they took counsel together against me, they schemed to take away my life. But as for me, I trust in you, O Yahweh. I say, you are my God. My times are in your hand. Deliver me from the hand of my enemies and from those who persecute me. Make your face to shine upon your servant. Save me in your loving kindness. Let me not be put to shame, O Yahweh, for I call upon you. Let the wicked be put to shame. Let them be silent in Sheol. Let the lying lips be mute, which speak arrogantly against the righteous, with pride and contempt. How great is your goodness, which you have stored up for those who fear you, which you have wrought for those who take refuge in you before the sons of men. You hide them in the secret place of your presence from the conspiracies of man. You keep them secretly in a shelter from the strife of tongues. Blessed be Yahweh, for he has made marvelous his loving kindness to me in a besieged city. As for me, I said in my alarm, I am cut off from before your eyes. Nevertheless, you heard the voice of my supplications when I cried to you. O love Yahweh, all you his godly ones. Yahweh preserves the faithful and fully recompenses the proud doer. Be strong and let your heart take courage, all you who hope in Yahweh. That's it. That's all the reading and all of the notes for today. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. Behold, behold the word of the Lord.